and welcome to the Cryptonaut Podcast. My name is Mark Storrs, and I'm joined by Mr. Christopher Carnicelli.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah.
And Mr. Robert Thomas Morvey II.
Indubitably.
Welcome back, boys.
It's great
Hey.
to fucking be back.
Yeah,
I haven't
we're here.
seen Chris in a fucking month.
I know.
You know, I haven't seen either of you guys in a
Yeah.
couple weeks. So
No.
hot damn.
So before we get started real quick, we almost had a boots on the ground situation here in our hometown.
Yeah, shit blew up.
Yep. It was looking like we were going to be going on scene. Well, I shouldn't say us. Actually, me and super producer Bill were talking. He's like,
Okay.
dude, could be aliens. I'm like, he might not be wrong, but I'm drunk, so I probably can't do this. Yeah. I'm not sure. Did you witness the sonic boom or feel the sonic boom when it fucking went off?
No, in fact, I'm just looking at you befuddled right now, wondering what the living fudge you're talking about.
Yeah.
You didn't hear about the enormous gas tank that blew the fuck up over near Falcon Park and like the landfill?
No, when did
Yeah.
this happen?
Was it like Saturday night or something like that?
Nights ago.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like some people that are in Auburn heard nothing, and then it was also heard as far as like Cato.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like way the fuck out.
Yeah, I actually because it was raining all day that day.
Yeah.
Right, and I
Yeah.
was watching Spider-Man: No Way Home because it came out. So I had my headphones on when I watch movies because the mix of music and audio is garbage in movies always.
Yeah.
Sure, of course.
So I had it kind of loud, and you know it was raining, and then all of a sudden, like I heard it, and I saw a humongous flash. I'm like,
Wait, was
that
this?
wasn't exactly thunder, but I think it probably was thunder. And I
Right.
just let it go. And
Okay, so this was during the storm, the little storm we had, right?
It was afterwards,
it was
maybe
just
like
a little
dusk.
after, but it was
Yeah.
like
Because I was
rainy
hanging out
that
with
day.
Liam, and there was a tremendous blast
Yeah.
that I just instantly dismissed as thunder. I told him, oh, no, it's like when lightning rips the air apart and it crushes back together. But even I was thinking to myself, Jesus fucking Christ, I almost shit my pants.
yeah, it was
So
because
that was that?
that was
See,
it.
I didn't know
because it
anything
wasn't
blew the
rumbly.
fuck
It was
up.
just a big, humongous boom, and I'm like, lightning often hits close to me for some
Sure.
reason. Maybe the body water, I don't know, something. So I just assumed it was something really close, but I didn't hear any crackling after. It just boom. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay.
I'll
Yeah.
be dipped.
Yeah. So my wife thankfully jumped right on Facebook to hear all the different possibilities that it could be. Could have been a Russians, could have been a meteor.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
the
bombings were
aliens,
immediately. It's like,
Bombings.
we're gonna bomb.
I
it was
love
a
that
whole
some people
thing.
always go Red Dawn, no
Yeah.
matter what. No matter
Yeah.
how many years pass, that's going to be the go-to.
Yeah, for sure.
So of course, because of the location, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like my ship plant, our ship plant is right there. I'm like, "Oh fuck!" I hope it wasn't the landfill behind us that finally blew up. So I,
methane party.
I had to get a hold
Yeah.
of my buddy. I'm like, "Are you like a pair of smoking boots right now? Like, where are you?"
Oh, my God.
And he was okay. Thank
Are you
God.
wearing orange? I want to be able to find you.
I wouldn't be surprised if the dump just blew the fuck up. It
Dude,
would be par for
one of these
course
days?
Of
course.
for where we are.
I work there occasionally, and I hope it wouldn't happen because it would be a fucking mile-long crater. But Bill did get a hold of me. We thought it could have been aliens, could have been a meteorite. We almost had a thing happen. I was too drunk, though, so it didn't matter.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
was like sloppy, shitty, fucky drunk. I was like in no shape. And then I was just, fucking the whole rest of the night. Like, this is bullshit. Nothing happened.
Know
And
your
then,
limitations.
yeah,
You
there
can't
go.
fight
No
the alien horde
aliens,
when
right.
you're
No,
sloppy.
No
exactly.
aliens, no
No.
I just assumed weather phenomenon.
No,
and
dude.
then
Yeah,
I
me
put
too.
my ear so far from the ground and give so little fucks. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously people know about, the fact that I'm rarely online. This just proves I don't even listen to anything locally.
Yeah.
I give
dude.
fudges.
You got to call my wife Nick and tell her to jump on the old Facebooks and
Well,
start
tell
digging.
Nick when it comes to local explosions, I want to be on the mailing list.
Right.
Okay.
I'll ever put you in her newsletter.
I don't need to know all the bullshit minutia, but
Right.
yeah, when things
Nice.
explode, sure.
So what you're saying is you're going to get Red Dawned first. Because you're not going to be paying the
Yeah,
fuck
you are,
attention.
dude. You are. Oh man.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Well, there you have it. A little
It's
bit of local
because,
news.
We live here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I can't do the pathetic yet heartwarming stalwart cry of a young Patrick Swayze,
Nice.
but it still drives it home every time.
Patreon shoutouts, Robert. Let's do them. These good folks support us every month over there at patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast.
Hard to fucking believe.
Amazing.
Bless them one and all. So we're going to begin with Jenna DeFelice,
Thank you, Jenna.
Ashley England,
Hell yeah, Ashley.
Donna,
Just Donna.
just Donna.
What up, Donna?
Old school.
Famous
Oh, yeah.
70s soul singer Donna.
Donna. Love it.
Nathan Patrick,
Oh, Nathan, thank you so much.
Jason Hackman,
What up, Jason?
Josh Primack,
Yeah, Josh.
Lauren Zabo,
What up, Lauren?
Morgan Copeland,
Morgan. What's going down?
Joe Boss,
Mr. Boss. Hell yeah.
Piper Duncan,
Oh, Piper, thank you.
Ophiuchus. I'm sure I'm fucking this up. I'm going to go with this. Ophiuchus Reborn.
Perfect.
Chris, nailed it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
I don't know. Am I the spelling wizard?
It could
What
be
are you-
Ophiuchus.
I mean, I don't know.
But
Yeah,
could be, yeah.
Ophiuchus doesn't sound
Okay.
right. And
All
Chris is the spelling wizard, but that's neither here nor there. Moving on to Honest Abe.
Oh, the honest of all Abes. Thank you.
Well, I mean, there's maybe I might take a little umbrage. I
You know.
mean, it's that other guy.
White
No
lie,
biggie.
Abe.
Katie G.
Hell yeah, Katie.
James W. Goatman III.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. Mr.
The
Goatman.
most
Three gens of
regal of
Goatman.
Goatman. I
Thank
know.
you.
You
Thank
can't
you.
stop at one.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goatman. And yeah, I think everyone that supports us over there at patreon.com/Cryptonaut podcast. Check that out. Oh, man, we are back. We are doing it, and holy shit. We've been talking about the story for a little bit, and I'm super fucking excited to finally be bringing it to the table. Rob, I don't know if we've ever done anything like this, have we?
I don't know. Well,
we ever gone curse?
specifically like this? Probably not that I
don't
can
think
think
we
of.
have.
I mean, you could say Annabelle was a cursed doll. You could say a lot of things have the
Right,
vague
right.
whiff of the accursed about them.
Yeah.
But as far as going
Yep.
balls deep in a flat out cursing and what happens due to it, I think this might be our first.
All right, dope. Well, let's get started with Christopher Case and the Witch's Curse. In the early 1990s, a Seattle executive with a passion for ancient music would have a run-in with a strangely seductive woman while on a business trip to San Francisco. This chance encounter would, within just 1 week's time, utterly shatter his life. The man's name is Christopher Case. The woman claimed to be a witch, and the hell she would unleash on this young, successful, and otherwise rational individual is the stuff of nightmares.
It's a shit show.
Well, fudge.
I mean, honestly, this sounds like a complete fucking. So,
No, I mean that really,
yeah,
that
all
really
right.
is the best way to
Yeah,
put it.
there it is.
Well, let's let the story speak for itself.
Excellent.
There are many adjectives that the friends of Chris Case would use to describe the man. Loyal, likable, level-headed, straight-laced, sophisticated, shy, popular, and passionate, at least when it came to music, much less so in his private life. Terms like fearful, paranoid, and irrational would not enter the lexicon of words used to depict his demeanor until April of 1991. When both the sanity and well-ordered existence of this up-and-coming audio producer was, in a barrage of seemingly supernatural blows, literally destroyed piece by piece. But let's take a breath and begin, as we so often strive to do, at the beginning. Despite the now legendary status of this account, there is painfully little in the public record regarding the early years of Christopher Case. Born sometime in 1954 and raised in Richmond, Virginia, Christopher's story usually picks up during his tenure as a radio DJ in Raleigh, North Carolina, where he was considered to be a courteous, industrious coworker who, despite his somewhat introverted demeanor, easily managed to make friends. It would be one of these friends, Fayetteville, North Carolina schoolteacher Sammy Soder, who remained in close contact with Chris when, in his early 30s, he decided to leave the DJ booth and relocate to the other side of the country to accept a lucrative executive position with the Muzak Holdings Company in Seattle, Washington, where he helped produce the soft instrumental versions of classic songs that have seemingly from a time immemorial helped collectively lull us into a suicidal stupor in elevators, doctors' offices, and other places where good taste is precluded.
I fucking hate these songs so much.
I always hear
I
like
hate
the
them.
lady
it's
from
just-
Ipanema.
That seems to be. I wonder if it really was there as much as we think it is, or it's just one of those.
Maybe not anymore. That's a childhood memory more.
Yeah.
No, I just heard it in the dentist office when I brought my kids to get their teeth cleaned. I was like, "Are you fucking really doing this right
That's
now?"
that's
and
a
it's
staple.
and it's Muzak.
It
I
slaps.
remember it,
At this
yeah.
point now, it's actually the only way I want to hear that song.
It slaps.
Yeah, you said that. I'm going to pretend it didn't happen.
Dude.
Hey, I'm young and contemporary. Nothing like a super gray beard to say, how hip am I?
Oh, it's great. I love it. Continue.
The cross-country move was a leap of faith, but one made easier by the constant contact Chris maintained with his East Coast buddies, including Sammy, who would unwittingly become one of the primary auditory witnesses to his sudden psychological decline through a series of increasingly erratic phone conversations and bizarre and frightening audio messages involving witches, black magic, and sinister inhuman entities. In particular, one unnerving message in which Christopher cryptically claimed, quote, "They're after me. I'm very, very afraid. Extremely afraid. I could die from this," end quote. So we're going to get there.
Okay.
Jumping ahead a smidge. But
All right.
yeah, it's icky.
All right. Into the mouth of madness. Here we go.
Indeed. But first things first, as he had in North Carolina, Chris quickly made friends out of his new West Coast colleagues and managed to maintain the strict physical fitness program he had established in his youth with daily vitamin supplements and a rigorous exercise regimen. With a winning smile, a thick swath of dark hair, and well-trimmed beard, the fit, bespectacled, newly minted executive was considered to be a catch, but his friends quickly realized that although he was more than affable at work, Chris simply wasn't interested in dating or even socializing outside of the workplace. His idea of a perfect evening was to be safely ensconced in the warmth of his North 152nd Street apartment, getting lost in the sea of notes that was his favorite music, particularly the esoteric arrangements of ancient Mediterranean compositions. I know that's my jam. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's where I go.
I'm going to say it don't slap.
That's my happy place.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, I like Slayer and Bad Religion.
Everyone loves
and
punk and
Danzig.
thrash. And Angry Small.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you just wait a minute? Did you just refer to Danzig as Angry Small?
Yeah, I wouldn't have labeled it Misfits like that, but that's the genre I think of for Danzig.
Yeah, Angry Small.
Angry Small.
All right, fine.
And I got a soft spot too.
All right, here we go. Mediterranean composition.
This wasn't about being introverted or antisocial. His new gig kept him constantly on the move, traveling back and forth across the United States in an unending stream of meetings and deal-making, which left him very little time to relax at home, much less pursue relationships. But for Christopher, being single seemed less about circumstance and more of a choice. He'd been flying solo for years and seemed to like it that way. This would make the horrifying situation to come all the more tragic, as Christopher's refusal to succumb to the wiles of a woman he would meet in April of 1991 was less a personal aspersion and more of a general reaction to any romantic entanglement. Unfortunately for him, she would not take it that way. On April 11th, Christopher flew from Seattle to San Francisco on a business trip. While dining out with other music industry executives, Christopher was introduced to an oddly alluring woman by a mutual friend who thought they would hit it off. Unfortunately, neither were identified by name. So basically, what I mean by that is that the woman or the friend, we have no idea.
You're right.
At this point, it's easy to imagine Chris internally rolling his eyes. The then 35-year-old had likely been through this unplanned, quote-unquote, blind date rigmarole many times before. But this time, something seemed different. Although the woman was 20 years his senior, others at the table noted that Christopher seemed struck by her attractive features, long black hair, and piercing eyes. But it would not be the woman's appearance, appealing though it may have been, that drew Christopher to her like a moth to the flame. It was her confessed passion for ancient music that completely captivated him, and it was a fascination that was near and dear to his heart, but which few others shared. And that's, how
What are
often
the
you find
odds?
that?
Yeah. I mean, she probably got a great, just great form on her, great physical. You're really like, yeah, but then you're like, oh, she likes ancient music too.
I
Sweet.
know.
But I don't know, kind of a red flag maybe. You're like,
Well, my first instinct would be, like the friend is setting him up. It's like, dude, he really digs like
Yeah, here's his
Greek
likes.
lyre solos.
Right.
Front it. Let me continue reading. In fact, the woman was allegedly involved in importing rare music from Egypt. So that was her gig. Though I don't know how you get that gig. I don't know what's involved with that.
I don't
know
know
what qualifies as rare or Egyptian music for that
Importing.
matter, except that it's from Egypt. And
Yeah.
importing it as if, like, I mean, you can't, well, it's pre-internet, but, like, I mean, you can't get it mailed to you.
Like reel to reel, maybe.
I don't think they mean archaic in that sense. I think it's supposed to be old-timey compositions.
Okay. Sanskrit, like notes, music, instruments.
All right, we'll deal with
It
that
could
part
be
later.
original recordings from the way time ago. On
Yeah,
some format.
recorded
right?
Etched in ceramic,
on
like
stone.
the stone tape theory.
Dude,
Yeah.
the first vinyl was rocks.
Yeah, dude.
Oh boy,
Fucking
I
sweet.
can hear Wolfman Jack saying it now.
Got my sweet Egyptian jams, dude.
All right.
All right.
According to Sammy, Chris told her that the woman, quote, had some information on ancient Egyptian music, and of course, music was his life, so he was very interested in that, end quote. But to Chris's point earlier, and this was just a simple Google search, I'm no expert, there are no written ancient Egyptian, compositions that we know of. They just didn't write down their fucking music. So
right.
what this is or why, whatever. It's just another,
Yeah.
it's a tiny part of what is going to be a much bigger mystery. Connected by their mutual affection for archaic compositions, Christopher and the unnamed music lover hit it off right away, discussing different Mediterranean musical traditions and a shared intrigue for Egyptian euphony. Clearly attracted to the handsome and zealous young executive, it would be then that, according to most accounts, this peculiar yet undeniably pulchritudinous woman made a decidedly unpuritanical proposition, requesting that Christopher accompany her home. Chris played off the proposal and tried to continue their conversation, but his captivating counterpart would not be dismissed so easily. This beguiling beauty, likely unaccustomed to being brushed off by potential paramours, became more insistent. Though there is no blow-by-blow accounting of their exchange, it would seem that the more avaricious this evidently wanton woman became, the more Christopher retreated into his shell. Finally, Chris had had enough, and he flat out denied the woman and her increasingly lascivious advances. According to Sammy, quote, she was enamored of him, and he didn't like that. He had no interest in her whatsoever other than music, end quote.
Wow, not even just trying to fuck. All right.
That just might not be his deal.
I guess.
By all accounts, his refusal was a polite one, but whether his words were actually harsh or gentle is not known. What is known, however, is that the woman did not take his spurning in stride, and what happened next is the stuff of legend. Without warning, the woman's salacious demeanor instantly cooled. Her already piercing gaze became razor sharp, and her once heated words took on an arctic chill. To the shock of all those present, she announced that she was a witch, and added simply, quote, you will be sorry, adding, you will be dead within a week.
Did she like point to his dick and go thinner?
I was going to say,
my
that's
God,
what it
imagine?
reminds me of.
Oh, totally. The best Richard Bachman book.
Just
Wink.
Just grabs his nuts and whispers in his ear, thinner. You're like, oh no, small balls, small balls.
Skinny dick, small balls.
That's awful.
I mean, I take small balls over dad.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
I don't really
yeah,
care.
no, it's fine. No, I mean, I have my balls.
No, you didn't mention skinny dick, though.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
dead.
you left
That's
that one
it.
out.
Skinny dick, I'm
Skinny
dead.
dicks kind of sucks.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. You have
it's
to weigh those options
Like
very carefully.
Like pencil, yeah, you're like, I'm dead. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm,
I mean,
I'm
if-
used
yeah.
to no
If
one.
you're rocking a Coke can and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right?
But if you're a man of modest means or even ample means, and you're just trying to, you can't really afford to shave off the sides.
Nah, man, that's where we stand as a podcast. Skinny dicks for dead. Mm-hmm. Choosing death.
Can't live with that.
HellerSpace.com. There you go.
Oh my God. So, dick aside,
So dumb.
you will be dead. That's it. No ranting or raving, no ancient dialects or incantations, just 11 simple words spoken without majestic fervor, merely a statement of fact. You will be sorry, you will be dead within a week. Christopher and his companions were no doubt stunned by the would-be witch's words, but being a rational man with no particular inclination towards organized religion, much less medieval mumbo-jumbo like curses, he, according to both the music executives who were present, colleagues in Seattle, as well as Sammy Sauter's testimony, dismissed her bitter declaration as little more than a bizarre assertion made by a half-crazed woman with excellent taste in music and zero tolerance for sexual rejection. no matter how politely it might be presented. As to what happened next, the moment unfortunately went unrecorded. Presumably either Chris left quietly or the raven-haired pagan stormed off in a huff. Maybe both. Either way, Chris chalked it up to little more than a brief misadventure in quirky San Francisco, and when he got back to Seattle, he delighted in regaling his West and East Coast buddies about how his virtuous conduct had brought on the wrath of a spurned sorceress. Everyone who heard the tale got a good chuckle at the expense of this angry enchantress. Their laughter, hearty though it may have been, would not last. Upon his return to Seattle, Christopher resumed his day-to-day existence, getting lost in work and spending time in his apartment, seeming to forget all about his weird interlude with the ticked-off thaumaturgist. Days passed without event, until, in the wee hours of April 14th, Chris was abruptly awoken by the sounds of footsteps and eerie whispers coming from within his house. Never great. Not one to take trespassers lightly, the athletic 35-year-old leapt out of bed and began to search the premises. Though he could find no sign of the home invaders and knew that he was alone in his apartment, Christopher was plagued by the notion that someone was watching him. This unnerving sensation was only exacerbated by an array of shadows he could see slipping from room to room with no apparent source. It was as if these nebulous apparitions had a life of their own and were, for reasons unknown, focused on him. At the first light of dawn, the panic-struck Christopher called Sammy and a few other friends to tell them about the incredible incidents that had kept him up all night. Some of them may have been skeptical about his account, but all were in agreement that their friend was genuinely scared. For Sammy, this would be the first of 3 increasingly frightening and irrational phone calls she would receive over the next few days from the usually level-headed Chris. It's not known if, at this point, he associated the events that had stolen his slumber with the witch's cryptic curse, but before long, he'd have little choice but to accept that magic is not a myth and that monsters are all too real. The following eve was, mercifully, uneventful. But if Chris believed his strange experiences were all in his mind, oncoming events would swiftly dissuade him of that misguided notion, as the night of April 15th would prove to be one of the most terrifying of his life. In the midst of what must have been a sporadic slumber, Christopher suddenly realized that he couldn't breathe. Something had wrapped its iron-like fingers around his throat and was implementing enormous pressure on his esophagus. He opened his eyes to see his attacker, but realized that he was being choked by invisible hands.
Oh, my favorite kind of hands, the stranger.
I want to see.
Why?
Yeah, because you don't even know. They're just like, hey, what's going on?
You're weird.
It's called the
Shit.
stranger?
Yeah, dude.
No, that's
Is
when
it
your
beating
hands
you off?
numb.
I don't know. Just seeing
Yeah.
if you guys picking up. I'm putting down over here.
I'd like to see a wholesale, over-the-top, Sly Stallone fucking bout between the hairy hands of Dartmoor and the invisible hands of Seattle, just to see,
Dude.
who would come out victorious. You
I
wouldn't
mean,
even
if
be
you're-
able to see.
If you're invisible, then
I know, but you just got you'll know the battle's happening. Or baby powder. That's what they always use on
You're just gonna
invisible
hear-
things.
Ba-
Well, the hairy hands of all
You're
right,
not gonna
first
see
off,
anything.
that's horrible.
It's amazing.
You can see the hairy hands of Dartmoor, you just can't see anything else.
that's right.
But if you use paint or foundation, I'm saying there's ways around it. It would just be the great mercy
mean-
match
like
of
throw
the
some-
century.
I wouldn't pay for tickets, but
I don't
like
know.
if somebody's like,
I'd
hey,
go for the pay-per-view. All right, you know what? I'd contribute to the pay-per-view. Like if a lot of people wanted to, no, I'd have to see it. I mean, I wouldn't have to fly to Scotland because Dartmoor's
I
not going
still
anywhere.
wouldn't pay for tickets. I don't think.
I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
England. I don't know. But either way,
All right.
either
Fair.
way,
Fair.
hands,
versus
invisible hands.
Hands v. Stallone.
Mm-hmm. The sinister strangler throttled Chris with violent intensity, then lifted him off the bed until his entire body was dangling mid-air.
Oh, fuck.
I know. Just when he must have been sure the end was near, the insidious invisible imp released its near-lethal grasp, and he collapsed in a heap on his tousled sheets, instantly losing consciousness. When Christopher awoke on the morning of April 16th, he found his hands resting in pools of blood atop his sheets. Frantically searching for the source of the sanguine stains, he realized that he had small, precise incisions at the end of each finger, though he had no clue as to what created them.
Oh God.
So like almost like I can almost
paper cuts?
like paper
Yeah.
cuts or like an X-Acto knife slit, which is basically the same thing. Just it doesn't say what they look like. I'm imagining them vertical from like tip down
Yes.
to like the first knuckle almost.
Where if you just if you move your fingers, they open up a little bit.
Exactly.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
The singing wounds.
Man, she just fucked her and gotten her over with. Jesus.
Yeah, no, in the end, you will absolutely agree with that
Fuck it,
assertion.
just take the L. Fuck it.
Yeah, no doubt. Whatever it is, do the
don't
walk of
know.
shame. Do whatever you got to do.
Whatever.
It's easy
dude.
to Monday morning quarterback this shit, but
It's
you don't
true.
know what would happen.
No, it could have been worse.
I know.
Could have been worse. All right. Well, we'll see. This episode is brought to you by May Moon Co. Visit shopmaymoonco.com and use promo code Cryptonaut for 15% off your order. May Moon Co. creates magic for you and your home with their handmade sun catchers and jewelry collections. Enjoy the magic that cascades in rainbows throughout your home with their handmade limited production sun catchers. But don't stop there. May Moon Co. has beautiful handmade jewelry crafted with traditional metalsmithing techniques, creating esoteric gemstone designs fit for every occasion. You can find them on Instagram at May Moon Co. or you can shop their store at shopmaymoonco.com. Use promo code Cryptonaut for 15% off your order. Also, too, I want to shout out the owner of May Moon Co., Talia. Thank you so very much. She is a listener of the show, and she decided that, as a fellow small business owner, she wanted to buy some ad space and help support the podcast. We appreciate that so very much. And also, too, I want to apologize because I cannot say May Moon Co. I had to send her an Instagram message and be like, yo, am I doing this right? I'm probably not, but whatever. It's awesome. Talia, thank you so much. And again, shop maymoonco.com and use promo code Cryptonaut for 15% off your order.
As he had before, Chris called Sammy and confided to her what had happened. She did her best to comfort him, but her friend was no longer the calm, even-keeled man she once knew. In a segment on the excellent YouTube channel Bedtime Stories, we've talked about that before, writer-narrator Richard Wilde described the wholesale change that had occurred in Christopher, stating, quote, "It had been less than a week since his meeting with the strange woman, but Chris was a changed man, barely recognizable compared to the confident, rational young executive he had been only days before. This was an obsessed individual, determined to the point of being detrimental to his health. He wasn't sleeping, and he had not shown up to work in 2 days. He called other friends besides Sammy, and they would describe how they could hear in his voice how utterly afraid he was." End quote. So, this he's going through a life change. It's not a positive one.
No.
Sometimes you got to go, through the darkness before the dawn.
We've all been there, dude.
Some
It's
storm
all-
clouds
it's
before the
happened to
sun
us
comes
all,
back.
dude.
Yeah, but the storm wasn't invisible hands throwing you around choking.
That's
It was
a fact.
just some lightning
I know.
It's true.
and some sounds.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like, you
You're
didn't
true.
wake up in a pool of fucking blood.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes it's something exploding in your small hometown and you can't tell the difference.
Right.
Yeah,
Sometimes
exactly.
it's that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, boots in the ground, boys. We're there.
There it is. Christopher's obsession with fending off these infernal fiends had begun to take a toll on his health. Those who saw him noticed that gone was the happy, vibrant man they knew so well, replaced by a pale, gaunt figure agitated to the point of distraction by exhaustion and fear. And this was understandable. Chris had been faced with an existential crisis. Reality as he knew it had fundamentally shifted, and he had no choice but to dramatically reassess his once mundane, earthbound view of the Newtonian world in which he had, until very recently, lived. The floodgates had broken wide open. If witches' curses and savage shadow creatures were real, then what else might be lurking in the shadow-shrouded corners of the world? Indeed, werewolves.
Dude.
Yeah.
Franken-
Franken
Frankenstein.
shadows.
Dude,
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein in the window. Werewolf.
Frankenwolves
Werewolf in the bathroom.
that get bit by vampires.
Yeah.
Frankenwolves.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Rabbit snails.
Shut your fucking mouth right now, Carnicelli.
Chicken beef.
God damn it.
Oh,
What?
Christmas ham? Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Easter roast beef.
Chris might not have understood everything that was happening to him, but despite the tolls that had been taken due to his terrifying encounters with the unknown, he remained, at his core, a rational man, and as such, he knew that the only way to deal with a problem, be it pedestrian or paranormal, was to learn more about it. To that end, Christopher visited a Christian bookstore located not far from his North King County apartment on Aurora Avenue, named Evangel Incorporated. The then manager of the store, Rodney Higuchi, and I fucking love that name, remembered Chris entering the store and making a beeline for a display of crucifixes, which he scooped up en masse. Confused and perhaps a bit concerned, Rodney approached the clearly agitated customer and asked what he intended to do with so many crosses. Understanding that he was in real physical, if not spiritual danger, Chris decided to forego any attempt at obfuscation in order to maintain appearances and came clean, explaining to the store manager that he was under assault by what he could only assume were demonic entities, and that he had to find some way to protect himself. Having no idea as to how to go about this, he asked Rodney for help. Whether he believed Chris's story or not, Rodney could see this man needed help, and as far as he was concerned, he'd come to the right place. The manager suggested scads of books on the occult, and in particular, tomes that covered the basics of doing battle with the forces of black magic.
This guy's been, this is training his entire career for this.
No,
This is it.
this
He's
guy
like,
comes
the guy's
in.
here, we got to do it.
Yeah, now it feels like the movie.
It does.
Now it's like, okay, you're getting into the supporting characters.
Yeah.
Yep. This is the guy that works at the store. It's Dick Miller in The Howling. He's
The Frog Brothers, right?
It's the Frog Brothers
Frog
and Lost
Brothers,
Boys,
yeah.
exactly. Just the person with the knowledge, and they've been aware of this stuff for a while. But you're new to this world, and you're coming for help. Now it won't turn into the same kind of partnership. This is not truly a cinematic thing.
No, in my mind it is though.
But it'd be great if it were. But I did find Mr. Higuchi on Facebook, and unfortunately, in time for this to come out, I didn't get any response from him. Maybe someday there'll be an update.
You hit up Higuchi?
Yeah, no, come on,
Dude.
Rod. We go back none at all. We have no history in the least. But
right.
at least he is a guy that talked to him and was involved. Now, granted, it was back in '91.
All right.
He looks really good. I think he was holding a mandolin or a fucking ukulele or something.
Cool.
He seems to be making the best of his world.
Higuchi doing it.
But anyway,
Okay.
he's real, and it's more and more like a movie every second.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah. So this fucking windfall comes in, and I'm not saying that he was greedy about it at all, but when a dude comes in and has problems and you got books to fucking sell, that shit is a match made in heaven. You know,
for
fucking
sure.
Amazon. This is how you get your fucking
47
commission.
crucifixes. Get 48's free. There you go.
Chris left with bags full of candles, crucifixes, religious music, and books on combating the paranormal. One of which, according to an April 22nd, 1991 Seattle Times article by Louis T. Corselletti and Eric Nalder, was titled Strange Customs. I did a little research on this, so I'm thinking this is presumably the book Strange Customs. How do they begin? The origins of the unusual and occult customs, superstitions, and traditions, published on January 1st, 1976 by R. Brash. Don't know for a fact, but that's the only title I can find that fit it. So, I mean, there it is. The speed reading Chris discovered that salt can be used as a deterrent for demonic forces, so he went to the store to pick up ample quantities of the stuff. One can only imagine what the cashier thought about this harried man with his cart full of candles and Morton salt. Thus armed, Christopher made his way back home to prepare for the next supernatural onslaught. He knew that it would be futile to contact the authorities to tell them that dark forces were amassing against him, and he was evidently unwilling to risk the lives of any of his friends by directly involving them. This would be his battle against creatures he was now convinced had been conjured by a curse, and even if he were to be outnumbered, he would not be unprepared. Once he arrived home, much like Nancy Thompson in her inspirational, though ultimately futile, pre-climactic booby trap montage in Wes Craven's stone classic A Nightmare on Elm Street, Chris set about setting up crucifixes and lighting candles. He then proceeded to pour salt in front of the entrances into his home and put tape and record players in different rooms playing religious music from various denominations. So this dude's fucking racking
That's
it up.
like a new one. The salt, everyone's
Yeah,
salt,
the-
all
the-
that's
the music?
crucifixes, but yeah, that's a
Really?
new one. Like in you don't really see that in movies when
No.
people are like doing the prep scene, like
The Gregorian chant.
Yeah,
and
the
then
crosses, the
fucking-
candles, the salt, we've seen. Or
Yeah.
at least I feel like we've
the
seen.
weird
I
country
need
music.
7 turntables.
Yeah, I know. I mean, is it gospel? It's
Satan's real. One of
Buddhist
those fucking-
chants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that never seems to be a thing.
Striper.
That,
I mean, on
Yeah,
all
dude.
I'd
fucking
be in there.
speakers.
I'd be in.
You're like, fuck yeah, man.
All right,
But
dude.
why not? I mean, if songs paying homage to a loving God that apparently hates the devil can, I mean, why not? Why not use that as a audio shield?
Yeah.
I don't know if that really works. They're probably just hate it. They're probably just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, goddamn.
Spoiler
I'm still
alert.
getting in, but
Spoiler alert, it doesn't.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. There you go. All right, bring it.
The music wasn't the key, unfortunately.
I'll go figure.
No.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
But I still like that. I mean, that Nancy Thomas montage. I always loved that in the
Yeah.
original, Nightmare on Elm Street.
just covering everything
Thompson.
in salt.
Yeah, Thompson.
I was
thank
like, why
you.
does it sound weird?
Yeah, Thomas. I said it wrong. But yeah, especially when she put the gunpowder in the light bulb, because I was like, oh, that's a thing
I mean,
I didn't know about.
Yeah, weird.
No, it's all
tiny
great.
I mean, I don't know why
explosions.
Freddie turned on a light, but that didn't matter.
How
Didn't
dare
matter.
you?
He doesn't like things dark. I think he probably tripped and said, I don't fucking know. I haven't seen it in a
Dude,
while.
he's in
That's
the real
not
world.
relevant.
He can't just make. He's
Yeah.
got to see now.
He's got to see, yeah. He doesn't have fucking
He's
spectral
tripping over
vision,
beds, fucking
which are
being a
made of like fluff and other.
wicked klutz. Dude, it would have been so cool if he popped into existence and she tripped him and he stabbed himself. Credits. Like, that would have been the greatest. I would have been like,
What?
Oh shit!
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't expecting
Stay
that
in the
to
dreams,
happen.
fucker.
There you go. Good luck with your fucking
so good.
your shitty knife glove. There you go. Glove
Oh, my
knife.
gosh.
eat reality, Freddy.
Oh,
Credits.
dude.
Nice.
I need you to go back in time
I
immediately.
know. Really, write this movie, please.
All right.
Okay. Records, religious music, the whole 9 yards. After which he settled down to begin some serious research, taking notes on measures he could take to protect himself from the invisible thing that had tried to strangle him and its insidious ilk. The lines had been drawn, and the courageous Christopher was braced for battle. There are some who insist that the scariest movies are those in which the malformed monsters or sinister specters are never fully shown, only hinted at, allowing the viewer to conjure up a more ungodly horror than the filmmakers could ever conceive of. Being a huge fan of what used to be referred to as quote-unquote modern horror, the great classics of the 70s and the 80s, from The Exorcist to John Carpenter's The Thing, and every bit of grindhouse schlock and Italian gut muncher in between, I call a solid bullshit on that premise. I like my shit bloody
I was just thinking,
and latexy
as
and
soon as you
mayhem
said
ridden.
that, I'm like, these clearly never saw The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like whoever believes
Or
that.
any of
like,
any of the greats.
Yeah.
But as we're all aware, there are exceptions to every rule. And by this case, I mean the rule that it's bullshit. And in this case, we're not talking about beloved drive-in Drek, but a genuine encounter between a terrified, all-too-real human being and iniquitous entities of immense power, devious intellect, and catastrophic intentions. What we do know is that on the evening of April 16th, Christopher had prepared, to the best of his ability, to defend himself and his home against this pernicious paranormal threat. But that by the early hours of Wednesday, April 17th, his plans had gone horribly awry. And though the specifics of what took place that terrible night were never revealed, the mind can't help but to wander into the darkest corners of our respective psyches to conjure up the absolutely worst things imaginable. Whatever transpired, it was enough to drive Chris, a man who, we must remember, was willing to defy a hulking invisible entity that had nearly strangled him to death, screaming into the dead of night. He managed to make it to a hotel where he checked in and, one can only pray, managed to get a little sleep. So we don't know what happened that night. It's one of the great
God
missing
damn it,
legends.
really?
I know
because
you-
all we get is his reports to
I
his
know,
friends.
you started
Right.
reading it. I'm like, don't fucking battle montage.
I know.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
Hours later at a hotel, he's
He's just,
crying,
screaming.
drinking coffee out
And
of
if
a
that happened
bottle.
in a movie,
Angela died.
that would piss me
Oh,
off.
I
Yeah,
know, my God.
seriously.
What a
Because
bummer.
at this point, you're like, all right, this dude just got choked out by a super invisible thing that lifts him fully off the bed,
Yeah.
sends him slamming unconscious to the the ground or the bed, and then he wakes up with fingers slit and puddles of blood. All right, he still goes back for more.
Dude, this
what
thing.
the fuck
I think
happened?
This thing walked in and kicked the shit out of him.
or
and
did
just-
some just even more nefarious
Yeah.
shit, or
He-
terrified him with
Yeah, this doesn't seem
apparitions
physical.
that-
This seems like it's mentally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just the night of awful fucking hallucination, vision,
Exactly.
whatever the
Devil
fuck it is.
marionettes, fucking, just the whole
Right.
9 yards.
A crate
the
of
worst
chicken
shit.
beef.
Yeah, spider babies.
Yeah.
Just the worst of the fucking worst.
All right, well, let's fucking see, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
When Sammy called to check in on Christopher that morning, she was concerned when no one answered the telephone. Heeding her gut instinct, she immediately contacted the King County Sheriff's Office and asked them to do a welfare check on her friend. When the officers arrived, they found the apartment locked and, intriguingly, according to Detective Larry Peterson, found a line of salt running on the ground from the front door to the rear of the apartment. When the officer spoke to his neighbors, they informed him that Chris was a private man who always locked his front door. Deciding that there was nothing at the scene that warranted breaking into the apartment, the police had no recourse but to leave the scene uninspected and report their lack of findings to the overwrought Sammy, who felt powerless to protect her friend, either from himself or the entities he claimed were after him. Worried, but realizing that there was nothing more she could do, Sammy went to work, but her thoughts were never far from Chris. When Christopher woke up, he checked himself out of the hotel and returned to the Evangel Incorporated bookstore. I'm always struggling with that word. Rodney was again at the helm, and he noted how much Chris had deteriorated in just the few days since he had last seen him. In what seemed to the store manager to be sheer desperation, the frazzled Chris implored him to give him whatever advice he could on how to protect himself from evil forces. Rodney did his best, offering the haggard man a few more books and charms before watching him slip away into the cool, windy day. He would never see him again. So, I don't know what any of us would do. I mean, we're all technically, to a degree, varying degrees and not that much, paranormal experts, I guess, just by the sheer number of accounts we visited. But if somebody came to any of us saying, how do I fight the evil? I'd be very concerned. I would want to put them in the right direction. I'd be worried about them psychologically and spiritually and physically at this point. But I'd be like, oh man, that's a lot of pressure.
Of all, if they came, if they had first they approached us and had a thing, and maybe we gave some advice, and they came back, and it looks like there was physical trauma.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
yeah.
No, at what point do you get other institutions to intervene?
Yeah. You have to do something, or at least. Like, why would you not? You'd be like, hey, well, we'll come over for the night and we'll see.
Absolutely. Like, if it's a friend, you always, yes.
Why is you doing any of this fucking
alone?
I don't know.
He's
man,
like,
I'm
fuck
not
you
going,
guys. No, you wouldn't go over if Chris needed help. Of course you would.
If it was one of you guys,
well,
yeah. But not someone that we don't know, like a secondary friend.
He's got friends. Like,
yes, I think we're talking about if we were his friend.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying Rodney Higuchi. It's his responsibility. He's just the guy that's running the shop. He's just there.
If it's someone that like we sort of know, like no, if it's one of you guys, of course. But even then, I'm going to be like, dude, we need to get you to a counselor, maybe get you on some meds, get you some water, maybe some fruit, some vegetables.
Yeah. Okay, I'm
not
sure that's a short-term fix.
Yeah,
maybe good shoes and
get
apple,
some protein bars, some nice new tight shoes.
I mean, I'm sure
slacks.
exhaustion and nutrition are definitely factors here.
Water helps everything.
Of course, demons are, their own problem.
Stay hydrated.
Assuming that's what's going on.
All right, well, we'll see.
But I suppose staying hydrated does help fend off certain evils.
Yeah.
But not all of them.
Saying.
Yeah.
The dry demon?
Yeah, I know. The thirst demon.
The dry demon, the worst demon of all.
Oh, yeah. The constipation demon?
The cottonmouth demon.
Oh, no. Oh, it's the worst. Oh, God.
Anyway. Okay.
All right.
So that was Rodney. He did what he could. Christopher's next stop was to a Catholic church where, despite his lack of religious affiliation, he spoke in earnest with Father James Monahan, who later reported on a segment of the Australian paranormal television program, The Extraordinary, that he was disturbed by Chris's condition, claiming that the young man told him, quote, he could feel this malignant power influencing his body, and he was scared to death that it was going to kill him, end quote. So the fact that this motherfucker's turned into church when he never did, and that later on, I mean, he's telling the fucking priest this malignant power is trying to fucking murder me. I don't know what to do. It's fucking heavy. It's duty heavy.
I mean, in times of, need.
Oh, yeah.
See Father Monahan. There you go.
I mean, I'm definitely a reformed, recovered, and no longer Catholic, but if shit got real, I'd be talking to a fucking priest. Probably.
I got a priest,
rabbi.
I got a priest friend that
monk.
I can go to. So, but like Father Vasile, need your help. Thank you.
We should all be so lucky.
There you go.
What advice was given to him by Father Monahan, is not known. But we do know that Christopher returned to his home to face whatever it was that seemed hell-bent on consuming his life. He redoubled his efforts of the previous eve. Chris poured salt not just near the entrances, but along all of the floorboards, with tiny pyramids of the compound building up in each corner. He put on music, the music of many faiths, and let the gentle din infiltrate his home while he began going through each of his new books, feverishly scribbling notes as how to thwart this evil and adding to his protective procedures all the while. He was as ready as he'd ever be. He'd read, consulted a priest, and learned as much as anyone could in 2 days about engaging with evil entities. In the hours before sunset, Chris called up many of his friends, all of whom were growing concerned, less perhaps for his physical well-being and more for his psychological welfare. This was confirmed by Sammy, who spoke with Chris that day saying, quote, "It was horrible. I wish there was some way that people could hear what I heard in his voice and what he said. It was a living hell," end quote. But as disturbing as his fear was, it would be the final message that he left on her machine that would haunt her for life. When she returned home later that evening, Sammy saw the blinking on her answering machine and raced toward it. At first she was relieved to hear the sound of Christopher's voice, but as the recording continued, she felt an ice-water rush of terror. Gone were the panicky intonations of earlier, now replaced by a steady voice harboring an uncanny air of resignation. The narrator of the Australian paranormal program somberly intoned that, quote, "Medical experts say that the apparent calm in Case's voice was the most chilling aspect. The total acceptance of his fate. Final submission," end quote. Here were his last chilling words to Sammy. Quote, "You know they're trying. They are trying to kill me. So whatever it is I do to set myself up doesn't work anymore. This is what it's coming down to. I'm not looking forward to tonight. It's serious. It's very serious. My life," end quote. That's fucking dark.
That's heavy.
That really is heavy.
Yeah, fuck.
It was at this point that the stout-hearted but almost certainly still terrified man climbed fully clothed into his bathtub, poured a line of salt onto the floor, and lit a circle of protective candles on the tub ledge. For what may have been the first time in his life, Christopher Case climbed down onto his knees and began to pray to whatever God would listen that he be spared from the dark forces surrounding him. Unfortunately, his pleas would fall on deaf ears. The following day, Thursday, April 18th, 1991, Sammy and other friends did their best to reach Christopher by phone, but were met only with an endless ringing. By that afternoon, the frantic Sammy had had enough, and at precisely 3:38 p.m., she once again called the North Kings County Sheriff's Office, and, once again, officers were dutifully dispatched to the locale. But this time they would be confronted by a scene straight out of a Clive Barker anthology. The first thing the deputies noticed as they approached Case's apartment was the arcane symbol on top of his stoop, made mandala-like out of poured salt. The perplexed patrolman checked and, finding the door unlocked, entered the premises only to be greeted by a soft yet eerie cacophony of overlapping music. One can almost imagine the unnerving synthesis of barely audible hymns overlapping guttural Gregorian chants. Almost certainly unnerved, the police continued their search, stepping over open books and hastily scrawled notes regarding demons and talismans. Crucifixes were strewn all over the apartment, and the smell of smoldering candles lingered in the air. The officers noticed other esoteric salt symbols on the floor, and although they could find no sign of a struggle, they instinctively knew that something was not right. The officers shouted inside, hoping to hear Christopher respond, but were only answered with silence. It was then that one of them noticed a streak of light pouring out from under the bathroom door. They could hear just the tiniest trickle of water as they cautiously made their way down the salt-lined corridor and slowly pushed open the bathroom door, where they saw something they would never forget. It was the final frozen moment of Christopher Case's life. He was fully clothed, though he had at some point removed his glasses and was still on his knees with his head resting on the shower wall not far from the faucet. At first glance, it seemed as if Chris had fallen asleep mid-prayer, but the officers knew better. The man in front of them was dead. After a quick inspection, the deputies could find no immediate cause of death. The sound of running water had come from the partially turned-on sink, the gentle tinkling sound blending with the already disconcerting din of the multiple layers of music echoing from the other rooms. It must have been a moment that they sincerely wished they could forget. As other law enforcement agents began filtering into the crime scene, it was discovered that Christopher had begun writing letters to other friends about his encounter with the witch and the hell that she had wrought. Although she had never tried to contact him again, it was clear that she was never, for understandable reasons, far from his thoughts. Already confused by the strange scene, as reports filtered in regarding what Chris believed to be happening to him, the investigators only became more perplexed. The spokesman for the King County Police, Tony Burt, told reporters from the Seattle Times and the AP Wire that, quote, he was afraid a witch in San Francisco had put a curse on him. So I guess they're not keeping that one under wraps.
Yeah,
No,
letting
they fucking came out. There you go. We got a witch.
Yeah, we got a witch. It's
Here
a classic. It's a classic San Francisco
you guys
witch.
say the Lord's Prayer backwards and fucking drop her.
Oh my God! Lest we forget.
Yeah.
In the same article titled "Heart-Failed Man Who Feared Curse," Sammy added that, quote, "Case was stable and healthy and did not believe in witchcraft." That may well have once been true, but there's every reason to doubt that he still felt the same way at the end. When all was said and done, the coroner declared that the healthy 35-year-old had died from cardiac arrest, specifically myocarditis, a sudden and seemingly inexplicable stopping of the heart. While not unheard of in young, healthy individuals, it seemed perplexing to his many friends who believed that something infinitely more sinister was responsible for their friend's demise. The final nail in the coffin for any further investigation into this beloved man's death came in the form of a statement by Richard Garner, a medical investigator with the King County Medical Examiner's Office, who stated, quote, "There was no sign of a crime, no sign of violence, robbery, or foul play," end quote. Ergo, case closed. There would be no one to interview Christopher's colleagues in San Francisco, and no way to track down the mysterious woman who was evidently in possession of such heinous power. But even if the determination had been that there was foul play involved with his death, how could any rational 20th century officer be expected to track down an importer of rare musical antiquities and accuse her of putting a curse on a fellow human being? This is not something modern-day investigators are equipped to do, and something, in all fairness, past investigators often use to their own atrocious ends. Yeah. So I'm not saying I want witch hunts to begin anew.
Well, right, you can't do that.
We've been down this road.
And I'm not saying that separating science and occult matters,
right,
law enforcement and church and state has not been almost a universal positive, because I believe it has. But that having been said, even if you wanted to look into this, how the fuck could you?
You can't. There's no
you just
protocol.
fucking couldn't.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, I mean, if she drowns, then she was good.
Yeah, and that's the
Killed
worst.
the wrong one.
Yeah, you die when you're noble,
Shit.
but that your soul's hooked up.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
Pieces of shit, witch finders.
Except for that one that didn't drown.
well,
no one
then
talks
she's
about that one.
fucking evil.
She got away. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Were it not for the terrifying, baffling, and ultimately tragic ending of Christopher Case's week-long paranoia-fueled odyssey into the world of the occult, it would be easy to dismiss the young professional's precarious psychological situation as a long-and-coming mental breakdown brought on by decades of self-imposed isolation, unknown emotional trauma, and, as was too often the case even in the latter portion of the 20th century, an undiagnosed mental health or perhaps even neurobiological disorder. But the bizarre circumstances surrounding this case leave little room for such convenient and comfortable conclusions, especially for those who wish to arbitrarily rule out any and all paranormal options. While there are other known incidents of alleged death curses claiming a life, for example, the case of the Oklahoma businessman named Finis P. Ernest, who died under mysterious circumstances following a series of inexplicable asthma-like attacks on August 24th, 1960, after being cursed by, of all fucking people, his mother, dick. What sets the death of Case apart is the fact that he was a vigorously athletic, healthy young man who never smoked or drank and by all accounts suffered from no chronic or congenital illnesses. In terms of his mental state, we all know that there are, sadly, people who may feign an externally happy demeanor while suffering in silence. And maybe that was the case with Christopher. But despite feeling no compelling urge to engage in any romantic diversions, he was a man who made friends easily and took the time to maintain close contact even with those who were thousands of miles away. Though he may have preferred to be alone, Christopher, according to those who were closest to him, did not feel isolated or lonely, but found the solitude to be a sanctuary wherein he could, without fear of interruption, fully immerse himself in his beloved music. And, that's simply true. A lot of people want to, use the fat brush and be like, anybody doesn't want to fuck is a freak. Anybody that likes their alone time is a fucking misanthropic shitbag. Not true.
No, not at all.
I like to be social. No. I need my alone time. There's times when you're on, times when you're off. People's sexual desires vary to people.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're not necessarily unhappy because you're not fucking. I mean, this guy clearly could fuck all the time if he wanted to.
He just decided not to, and I mean, it's what happened.
It wasn't his bag. And you hope he wasn't suffering in the closet or suffering in some other way, but because 80s, different time.
It was definitely. I mean,
but that having been said, he seemed pretty fucking happy with his life by all accounts. Again,
yeah, no, I mean it's all looking that way
right now,
but not really.
And what of the mysterious music lover whose insidious words, whether they carried any actual witching weight or not, drove Christopher to the brink of madness and, lamentably, death? Was she even real? Reputable news sources such as the Seattle Times claimed that at least 2 of the music executives, who understandingly yet frustratingly insisted on anonymity, who dined with Christopher that fateful eve, confirmed that the victim met the woman in question and that the pair seemed to hit it off immediately. Here, though, is where the accounts begin to vary, at least somewhat, with some insisting that Christopher refused to leave with her that night, and others claiming that the pair ended their meeting on a high note and met the following evening to discuss their mutual love for antediluvian music. And it was then, during their private encounter at a restaurant, I think it was, that Christopher declined the alleged witch's invitation. If the first scenario is accurate, then there are, possibly to this day, actual eyewitnesses to the cursing. But if the second account is true, then it was Christopher alone who reported the insidious incident to his friends and colleagues. And if that's the case, that makes things a little dicey.
Not a little, a lot dicey.
Sure, but I only read one account that said that happened, and it was actually not even read. It was in that The Extraordinary TV show. And honestly, we all know how TV show researchers go.
Well,
so before we give this too much weight, though we will give it some weight. I mean, I've researched for TV shows and I've seen what they do with my work. You don't always have all the information, and a lot of people in the TV world would be willing to just throw anything up. Oh, so they met the next night. It could just be like a little foible in the paragraph, and next thing you know, they're shooting 2 different fucking scenes and it doesn't matter. So, because that's the only place I've heard that variation, not say it's the only one that's out there, but the only one I found.
Right.
I think we should let that pretty much sit, but we will consider its implications. For as terrifying as the implications of real-life curses may be, equally unnerving is the prospect that someone who is otherwise healthy could not only experience a breakdown that manifests itself, at least in his own mind, as metaphysical monstrosities, but that can culminate in what is, basically, suicide by terror. Either way, we must all mourn for the suffering of Christopher Case and pray that if we're ever in his shoes and we bump into anyone as powerful, compelling, coercive, or vindictive as the woman he allegedly denied, we make a better decision. And rest in peace, Chris Case. Because in the end, that's really, no matter what's happening, and we can discuss all of it and will, that some poor motherfucker who is apparently otherwise healthy, doing well, making money, living in Seattle, a fine-ass city with good coffee, could be rolling in the ladies or the dudes if he wanted to, probably, but just chose not to, and had his shit fall apart literally in 1 week because he wouldn't throw the dick. It's terrible.
So, I mean, obviously here I think we all know where we're going to go with this, skeptically speaking, witches and curses and all kinds of crazy music aside. Unfortunately, if Christopher was dealing with some form of mental illness, that just whether he had been dealing with it for like a long time or if it's something that maybe
And in
came
silence,
on.
that's why his friends never knew. His
Yeah.
family didn't know. Even though,
right.
surprisingly, no one talked to any of his family, as far as I could tell.
That's weird.
Which is weird.
Yeah,
Maybe
you'd think.
maybe he wasn't close to his family. Maybe that
Yeah.
was the underlying factor for some issues.
Yeah,
Again, we're just pissing in the wind, and that's not fair. But you can't help but to do
Yeah,
it.
well, there's not a lot of digging to be had. Like,
No.
there's not much more to get into. We can talk about it, but you can't.
It's all
Can't prove
speculation.
it, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately though, it does sound like maybe he was dealing with like schizophrenia or something. It has a lot of the, the telltale signs.
Like undiagnosed.
Yeah, but a lot of the weird telltale signs of like religious ideology and like demons and
Whispers,
paranoia and whispers
visual
and shit.
hallucinations.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. And it's unfortunate because if that is something he was dealing with and he just couldn't get the help for it, I mean, fuck, that's an awful way to live. That just sucks.
Totally.
Now, all right.
But if it happened to like just coincide with
I mean, yeah,
with
that-
a woman who doesn't
yeah.
take and maybe like everyone. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, quirky San Francisco weirdos, ex hippies, like people,
Yeah.
Anton LaVey,
psychics and esoterics, all sorts of crazy people go there.
leprechauns with no shoes.
Exactly. Well, I know, and you need shoes, but yeah. So if he just ran into like basically just a weird woman who wanted to bang and just like, I'm a witch, fuck you, you're gonna die, and it coincided with an episode, and he willed himself to fucking death after hallucinating.
That's the weird
But there's
part.
a lot of moving parts to that
No.
that makes me almost, because obviously while it's easier to buy than curses,
Right.
it's still a struggle to like make all those pieces fit for me.
I mean, if you're believing that, cardiac arrest isn't that unbelievable to me.
No, he's
Like, you know what I mean? It's like you could put yourself in a state really quick, especially
Right.
if you have some sort of disorder.
I can work myself into a pretty severe fucking panic attack where
Sure.
like I'm almost ready to have my wife bring me to the hospital. Like I've done it before in the past where I'm like, I'm gonna fucking die.
Right.
So, and that's just me getting in my own head about dumb shit.
So
Not nearly as no witch cursed me. I just fucking thought too much one day.
That's valid.
and I
Yeah.
broke my
And-
mind.
All right, so there's I think I'm saying this the right way. There's the nocebo effect. The idea of, say, like where somebody is told they took arsenic and they go online and they read all the symptoms of arsenic and they start exhibiting
Manifesting,
those.
yeah, for sure.
And then
Yeah.
and here's the really compelling part, their organs start showing the signs of arsenic poisoning without ever having ingested any arsenic.
Sure.
Right.
So that shows you, first off, the power of the human mind and the will.
Brain's a
is
shithead
epic.
when it wants to be.
No, we all
did-
know the shed brain syndrome.
No. I think one of the greatest lines in the Peacemaker, and I might have even said it before on the pod, was when Vigilante's talking to Peacemaker, and he was talking about like being introspective. He's like, "Oh no, the mind is a den of scorpions. Better to run away from than run towards." And I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm like, yeah, I get that. As a guy that's been locked in his own mind palace for fucking far too long at times, I can't say I 100% support that. Introspection is always bad, but you cross the line and you're fucking yourself.
Yeah, no.
But that helped
Right.
also having been said. I took the time to do a tiny bit of research and called my fucking doctor. And I'm like, what do you think are the chances somebody can psych themselves up to be scared to death if they are otherwise fairly healthy?
You talked to your doctor about
I did.
this? Oh my god.
Sometimes
really?
you got it.
Okay. Oh, all right. Okay.
And he's like, well, it's hard to tell. I mean, did they have underlying conditions? I said, not that I know of, but
Right.
he seemed to be healthy. I did mention, and this is something that's been pointed out online, that he was an avid taker of vitamin supplements, which he also told me are unregulated and don't usually cause any problems, but especially back in the late 80s, 90s.
Yeah, dude.
They might not have been wonderful for your fucking
FDA
body.
gave zero fucks about vitamins being produced in some weird factory somewhere, probably alongside of steroids.
That
and
the GNC
barbiturates.
was like chock full of dead centipedes and fucking, you
Yes,
know,
I remember.
Yeah, I'm sure.
the
Yeah.
GNC. Here's-
North Korean fucking parasites and God knows what.
Here's the fucking bat dick formula. Enjoy.
Yeah, no, you'll get
Yeah.
wicked seps.
Get sweet ball hair.
So, but he didn't go into detail of that. His assertion was that it's very rare. I to quote him more directly, he never heard of any time when somebody has scared themselves to death.
Right.
But that people can work themselves up into a frenzy, that it can be detrimental to their health.
Yeah.
And all of that is true. And so, all right, so that's as far as we really went on that. Putting all that aside, we know the human mind is a very powerful tool. We know that, like again, the nocebo effect, you can hype yourself up to be sick. If in the case of like the Oklahoma guy I mentioned briefly, Finis there, he really seemed to have a weird relationship with his mom, and she was very like psychologically abusive. And every time he went there, he had the asthma attacks, and it was a shit show. And so when she told him, "You're going to die if you don't listen to what I say," and he went and did whatever he wanted to do, and then fucking died, maybe at some point like that it can work. But Christopher Case is different. This is not like a long-standing relationship with a love-hate sort of back and forth that this guy had with his mom. It's just a woman he met. And he's met plenty of attractive women that were interested in him and that he just wasn't going to pursue. So for him, it probably was almost every day. Well, maybe not that much, but I can't see like just the words having an effect. And here's the other thing that makes me think this is something different. It's not, again, a guy that believes his mom's words, creepy and horrific as they are, as gospel. It's some random dude that, by all accounts, totally dismissed and just laughed it off.
Right.
Doesn't mean that's really what was going on in his head, I know. But
yeah.
But at least we have to count that as he seems much less likely the type of dude that in a week's time is going to fucking scare himself to death. But you have to put it on the table.
Yeah, it does kind of happen quickly. It literally goes from you're going to die to he's fucking dead. Like within, it's a complete decline.
You're gonna die too.
Yeah.
Oh fuck this is crazy. Call my buddies. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. This shit happens when you go to San Francisco. To I keep hearing whispers in my house, but that's fucked up. And he doesn't even necessarily associate it with the fucking witch's curse. To getting body slammed, choke slammed,
if you
fucked up.
Fucking Ponty pulled himself and has gotten to his own head, and just one thing happens, and next thing you know, just boom, 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 one after another thing getting worse, and you're just spiraling out of control. You know. Which could happen.
Other people have suggested too carbon monoxide poisoning. I don't think anyone gas tested the house.
That could be a
but
thing.
The bulk of everything negative happened in the house. I mean, he didn't talk about the demons following him to the church.
So something like environmentally fucking with them.
Possibly.
Oh man, that's a bummer.
You got to throw that out there.
Shit, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that wasn't
causing
really a
you to hallucinate. Which I mean, carbon monoxide poisoning. Yeah, you could literally be there kneeling, praying to God, and all of a sudden you just burn. Yeah, shit.
I mean, would it manifest as a heart attack? That's something I probably
poisoning?
should have researched. I didn't.
I think that's. I feel like that's just
because you think
it's kind of like I think what Chris is saying, like a blanket, like it was a heart attack.
Sure.
Like, did they actually like autopsy him?
Well, the coroner said it, but I don't know. And here's the
exactly.
thing: what's the state of CSI in '91?
Exactly.
Like
we all lived it, dude.
I don't know, like, if you find somebody dead in their apartment of a heart attack, if you even do a full-on autopsy.
Yeah, or if you're just like, oh, no, heart attack. Like,
just heart attack?
No strangulation, no nothing, just heart attack.
Or you cut open the heart, it shows sign of a heart attack.
Right.
What tests do you do? What tests could you do back then?
We have folks who work at coroner's offices, so I'm sure they can DM me and tell me.
we should ask that. But either way, I still am not going to dismiss it.
Yeah.
Yes, the hallucinations.
Carbon monoxide, yeah.
He's in his house.
That sucks,
and
man.
if he died of carbon monoxide poisoning on top of it, well, fuckity duck. That's just the worst.
Yeah.
So it's out there then.
All right, yeah.
It's a theory, and it's there.
An ultimate, the alternate theory here, obviously, is that he was cursed by a witch.
That he was cursed by a fucking witch.
Nothing you can do. I mean, we don't like curse. There's no protocols. There's no witch finder general you can go to be like, yo, I got cursed. Like, what do I do?
I mean, there is in other countries, I guess, but
we've talked about it at length. Yes, but I mean, here in America, if someone curses you, what even if you go to the clergy, if you go to whoever, what the fuck are they going to do?
Not much.
There's
apparently.
there's no like book. Cursed by a witch for dummies, and you open it up like, oh,
no, there probably is.
There probably is. 100% wrong.
Yeah.
Actually,
for whatever good it'll fucking do you.
Yeah, apparently
the
none.
Crystal
if you,
need
this,
or whatever. Yeah,
yeah, and even with Amazon Prime, you might not get that shit in time.
The crystal,
the fucking the witch fighting for dummies, the fucking whatever you need. So the information's out there.
Yeah, I mean, if a witch curses you, like, well, that's it.
So if we live in a world where I hope only a handful of people are powerful enough to be like, fuck you, I'm going home.
That sucks.
You're going to the grave.
Yeah, it sucks.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because this is the only case I've ever heard like this.
Which,
like other ones are implied curses or certain things, or maybe like a voodoo, witch, a mistress curse or whatever, and that person who is steeped in that religious belief ends up succumbing.
I mean, this seems kind of fucking like low rung to curse somebody, like, oh, you won't fuck me, you die.
Well,
like
here's something that seems really obvious. You're the kind of witch. Kill a healthy man in a week. You got this. Right. And by the way, you're already hot. So what? You're 20 years a senior. You're hot as the devil's balls. You're doing what you do. Why not try a fucking love fucking curse? or fucking spell or whatever. Like, you're kind of missing the point. If all you want to do is fuck this dude, there's an easier way to get there than just being super forward with a guy who's already shy and, kind of awkward in his ways.
Right.
There's ways to get in his fucking pants that don't require murdering him.
Just seems like such a small offense. You know, like, oh, you don't want to sleep with me. You die. Like,
That's vindictive as shit.
It's
Like,
super
even if he had
vindictive,
made a scene and embarrassed her, which would be shitty, and,
But he did-
and
he
you're
didn't.
unforgivable, it still doesn't warrant a death sentence.
Yeah.
But apparently he was just like, hey, no, it's just, I got an early day, I got my flight home, whatever the fuck he said.
Gotta make music tomorrow.
Gotta make music.
Got this Billy Joel tune I gotta fucking fuck with.
Gotta do that weird version of the fucking Rock the Casbah.
But then again,
fucking
also, like, we're saying witch, but, a witch, quote-unquote witch, isn't the only thing that can cast a spell.
True, but she identified
Right.
herself as a witch.
No,
It's
she-
not
That
us
doesn't mean
saying
she
it.
was, though.
Oh.
Just because she said she was, it doesn't
Well,
mean she was.
I mean,
because
what-
what would you be like? Hey, I'm a demon. I'm curse you.
Oh,
You're a witch.
okay, gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, 'cause I was
Okay.
like,
I
wait,
was thrown
she,
off. I mean, you
yeah,
mean
I'm
like
like she pronounced I'm a witch,
sorceress,
and Chris is
or-
like, she is no witch. Like,
I'm going through my mental thesaurus, being like, what are the other things? And
Yeah.
I just did so
an
many mental.
enchantress?
Yeah, I just did so
Yeah.
many mental gymnastics for that. I'm like, maybe she's right. Yeah.
All right, so a demonic entity that's going to fucking kill you anyway.
Or why does this
Still,
fall under the
a
umbrella of
succubus.
just an asshole? That's my first thought was a succubus.
yeah, no, I was-
succubus.
I was
This could be
thinking the
any
same
creature
thing.
from any dimension that can do
Right.
some shit.
Yeah.
Mixable
Oh.
plick.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mister.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mr.
Right.
Mixoplex. But
You
what,
just have some random fucking shitty
man,
powers.
what fucking for what? What did this dude do to become a target? Like because he works at
Would
music?
The umbrella doesn't care.
God
Isn't
damn
isn't
it.
this your?
God damn it.
No,
They're just here to
alright.
fucking fuck
Yeah,
people,
No, it's true.
or not,
true.
and kill them.
Or because he
If
worked
they are
at
not
Muzak and they hated that shit so much, they were like, "Fuck
Yeah.
him."
Oh, could you
Because he was
imagine?
the CEO. There's this corporate espionage. They took him out.
We don't know if it really impacted the industry to some
Yeah.
degree. Like, this guy was the guy in charge of one of the bigger
Is this
ones.
Pumpkinhead again?
Oh shit! Pumpkinhead protocols,
Always.
boys.
The competing
Get your
company
boots on.
fucking raised a shitty gin.
Get your boots on. We're in Pumpkinhead fucking.
man.
Yeah, you
country.
got to fuck him to death. He doesn't want to fuck me. Look hot. I'm trying.
You gotta fuck him.
Fuck him to
This is
death.
how you gotta do
He
this.
will not fuck me. Kill him. Oh, I didn't want to do this. I'm a
man.
witch. Here's a curse. Plink.
Fucking evil corporation 666. Oh,
man.
shit.
There's probably hard competition between Muzak holding companies.
Yeah, there could be.
And what about fucking importing ancient Egyptian music? Like I said, I tried to look into that. There's no ancient Egyptian music. We've got like fucking Greek compositions. We've got other Mediterranean cultures, Syrian, whatever.
Right.
The Egyptians didn't write their fucking shit down. We don't know what that sounded like. Unless it was literally passed down ear to mouth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
it could
she was
be
some,
just
like,
folk
Egyptian-
hymns.
Sure.
This started somehow, somewhere, sometime.
She was like some weird Egyptian, like fucking
Like an
devil,
ISIS
djinn.
type,
Yeah,
I was thinking purgatory when they first. You're like, you're Egyptian,
Yeah.
you're a succubus,
Yeah.
possibly a vampire.
Purgatory. From Chaos Comics,
Yeah.
like Evil Ernie. Yeah,
I will say
that's like, what are you?
that a goddess would not take lightly to being turned down.
Dude.
Like, I mean, I know most of my mythology from the Norse and the Greek and Roman stuff.
Yeah.
But that's all chock full of bitterly jealous, petty douchewads.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That don't give a and if you don't fucking, wet the dick or fucking pay homage in the right way, they'll destroy your entire fucking coastal town and all the
Right.
people in it.
Yeah,
all the
that's the
babies, all
deal.
the nice people. I know, because you wouldn't fuck me when I looked like a swan or whatever. I know I'm conflating
this
myths,
is dude,
but
this
Yeah.
is American Gods.
yeah,
Yeah, think
in a
about
way.
it, dude.
It could be.
Gotta bang the
Actually,
buffalo.
that's the most plausible thing. An Egyptian goddess who's just like,
Just
I'm here,
happened to show
I'm
up.
bringing music,
Yeah,
I'm hanging
dude.
out. I
ISIS.
can fuck anyone I want.
Was
and-
Isis a female goddess for?
Well, it was a
Egyptian?
Saturday morning fucking show. I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Egyptian.
Yeah.
Bast.
I don't remember if it was a woman
Yeah,
or not.
Bast.
Probably.
Oh, was it fucking? Oh, I started doing this.
Yeah, I'm like, the fuck
Yeah,
does that mean?
what's that? The
Nile,
guitar solo?
The fucking death metal band Nile. With
Yeah.
all the, fucking At the Gates of Ishtar.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Black Seeds of Vengeance, dude. Oh, what a that shit slaps, dude. That's a banger right there.
Hell yeah.
Everyone check that shit out. Black Seeds of Vengeance. Nile. All right, man. Well, fucking. I'm gonna go with. Unfortunately, I believe this gentleman just may have suffered from some sort of mental illness that I think in the end got him, which is sad. It sucks. So, not to bring it down in a bummer. but
No, yeah,
you
I know.
there's Christopher, what do you?
Yeah,
what,
no,
okay, all
I
right.
mean,
Oh man.
not self-imposed, but not consciously.
Yeah.
this thing fucking happened, and he fucking lost his shit.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Like-
Robert, what are you thinking? ISIS, Ishtar? What do you
No,
got?
well, don't forget a
Black Seeds of-
Bastet, the cat goddess.
Oh, all right, okay, I like
let's
it.
not let's
All
not
right.
let's not limit
I don't
my
think this is
Egyptian
something she
goddesses.
would do.
Yes, Rob's
That's my
definitely
internet.
going to get emails about this for sure. Yeah, Reddit is
So
not going to like this.
Here's the fucking thing. It's nuts. Of course, the more prosaic explanations make more fucking sense. He was overwrought by something. This might have been a long time coming. Whatever she said just triggered something. Maybe if he was an undiagnosed schizophrenic or something else, and then he goes. I mean, of course, that has to be more logical.
Right.
But to me, I'm still mystified by this pattern of events, and I can't rule out, something paranormal, because it's like that just doesn't happen that often. We've all been threatened by people. We've all pissed off exes or lovers that we didn't necessarily want to maintain a relationship with. And I'm not saying they all have these fucking kind of magical skill sets, but this should be happening a lot more often, where people are terrified of like all this assault. This is something.
Well, maybe it is, and you're not hearing about it.
Well, maybe
That's a claim
it just
we
seems
make all the time.
You're right, but it seems really truly diabolical to me, and I'm not sure if it's like Judeo-Christian or again, something pagan, probably paganistic if it is a witch. But she tells him he's gonna fucking die, and he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. He's got to work out. He's got to take his GNC supplements. He's got to make that sweet music. And then at night, shit starts happening. To me, it's only slightly more of a difficult leap for me to think that it's something genuinely paranormal and not carbon monoxide or a sudden psychotic attack from whatever disorder he has. Like, sure, those are slightly more probable, but not that much more probable than a supernatural onslaught. So I'm still wide open. I can't say I have a final thing. I can say I'm sad for this fucking dude.
No, it sucks, dude. What a
I can
bummer.
say that the power of persuasion is deadly, and be careful how you wield it.
Yeah.
Especially if you throw some unintentional shit out there.
Yeah, man. Don't be a fucking dick, dude. Everyone be cool.
And it scares me in general, because there's a lot of people out there that if they were cursed, it might not kill them, but it would fuck them up for a while.
Yeah, if you can get into someone's fucking mind hole like that and just kind of gnaw at it, they're gonna be fucked
rent free for fucking God knows how long.
Oh man.
So I'm still pretty wide open to a paranormal explanation, simply because the normal explanations really take a lot of gymnastics to make work. They're not easy. It's not just unless of course this crazy San Francisco chick just fucking dosed him and he had anything else on the fucking thing. But if he had been clean his whole life and had never had LSD and she slipped him a little something in the drink.
Oh, man, one wrong trip. I mean, if it was if it was enough, you could
and if he had
fucking
other
fry yourself.
underlying
100%.
circumstances
and then
if
it
was
brought it out.
too much.
Yeah, dude.
And then you start seeing and experiencing things that are chemically induced, but you don't know you've been dosed and you have no context for this because you don't drink, you don't smoke dope, you don't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
And I don't see how it leads to your death, but if it was a weird combination of being drugged, a psychotic break, and carbon monoxide, again, that's even harder to believe than just a curse in some ways.
That's
then
quite a
maybe
bit.
that's what happened.
I don't know, man.
But yeah, no, getting dosed could really, I mean, if this guy believed he was cursed and fought demons and ended up, God forbid, in an institution, I know that's more of like an urban legend type thing, but it has happened.
Right.
Then I could say, all right, maybe that happened. But as it turns out, I'm going with curse.
All right. Well, shit. There it is. Christopher Case and the Witch's Curse. Holy shit. Thank y'all so very much for joining us. The Cryptonaut Podcast. Oh, you know what? We're at the socials. We're doing the socials, the Instas and the Twitters and the Facebooks. Check us out there.
Do it.
Jump in the DMs, say hi. The Facebook fan group, check it out. Pretty dope time there.
Fuck yes.
The Patreon, patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. Be sure to check that out. That is connected to our Discord, boys. And this past weekend here, we had the trivia night.
Yeah, how did that go?
It was
I was so sorry I missed it.
It was awesome. It was fucking super dope. We had two winners. That one, we had Mr. Ryan Mills from A Random Shop, the dude that does all the dope 3D printing for all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Harry Tomato. Yeah, good old Harry Tomato. Turns out he's actually a former local boy, so it's kind of cool to talk to him.
Super dope.
And yeah, they actually each won prizes. And now for all these different trivia nights and content that we're doing, all these different events, we're going to be having prizes. So
nice.
that's super dope. And it was awesome. And shout outs to Hecate and literally Jesus for doing that. I just was kind of like the games master where I'm just like, yeah, so guys, hey, what's going on? The weather outside sucks.
You just emceed it?
I sort of, but not really. Like I did. I think I just made Hecate's job harder because she had the shit all fucking figured out, and then I came in, just stepped all over everything. But it was super fun. It was awesome talking to everybody. Had a great time there. It was super cool. Thank y'all for participating there. Real quick, we got to do some shout outs before we get out of here.
Hell yeah.
We just got a book actually in the mail. Yes. We arrived here before Robert, and there's a package from England. Robert,
Yeah.
what is it?
It is. We got sent a trio of books by our buddy Richard Freeman.
Awesome.
Dope.
Legendary cryptozoologist from England, and it's Adventures in Cryptozoology Volume 2.
Sweet. We got Volume 1.
We got Volume 1.
Yes.
He was kind enough to give us a shout out in that, which was awesome. It was a great book. And it's his continuing adventures called In Search of Real Monsters.
Nice.
So I'm hyper stoked. I want to thank Richard for that. I cannot wait to read it. And he drew me this really sweet lake monster where he signed it, which I fucking love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dope.
we all got a monster. I think I got like a death worm.
Oh, that's wicked.
You and I got like a cool like wolf or something. I think in there, maybe chupacabra.
Oh,
Crap jackal. That was one of the trivia
crap
questions.
jackal.
Oh.
What did Chris refer to as a crap jackal?
I don't even know.
I remember that.
Oh, I think I
Exactly.
suck so bad. Do you remember?
Crap jackal.
It was the chupacabra, and I was astounded at how many questions I didn't get.
Oh my
Was
God, I
it
would've
more
failed
based
so
on
bad.
the pod?
Yes.
The story? Oh,
like,
it was all on
like
pod?
episodes. Yeah,
Okay,
like,
not just like random crypto
So
trivia.
things,
Yeah, no. It was
things
like-
we've said at pods
it
or
was
things that
all
were
trivia.
in pods.
Around
Oh,
us, yeah. And there's a lot of shit that I did not get. And I'm like, I was there. How did I miss
That
this?
doesn't mean anything.
Still.
Because
Dude.
we're not going to remember our own shit.
No, not at all.
God bless
Not
him.
at all.
I didn't remember that.
but
Fucking
back on point.
Ryan Mills fucking crushed it. So
That's
back on
awesome.
point.
Dope.
Thank you, Richard. Freeman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
check out the first book and check out the second book.
I'm
Yes.
sure they are both available on Amazon, Amazon.com.
Yeah, Adventures
Use
in
your-
Cryptozoology
Yeah.
and In Search of Real Monsters are both on Amazon. They're both fucking awesome.
Awesome. Dope. Also, too, this week, holy shit, this is kind of cool because this project we actually was done a while ago from our buddy Mr. Jeremy Ediger, and this is at the paranormalpuzzles.com. He got the puzzles. They showed up.
Oh, I know.
They
I was
did
so
show up.
stoked.
He had unfortunately, he had some shipping issues, with the whole pandemic and everything, and things got all fucked up. But they showed up. He sent us each a couple puzzles, and holy shit, they are awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
so
they're dope.
hyped
They
up
are
to start
so
this.
fucking cool. So he actually has a thing here for us for our good listeners out there. So if you go to the website paranormalpuzzles.com, you can use there's a discount code for $5 off the 2-pack bundle. And so the discount code for that is CryptoFam. Just CryptoFam, one word. You can get $2 off or $5 off the 2-pack bundle and check it out. They're super dope. Thank you to
They look
everyone that
wicked.
supported that Kickstarter. It's super cool of everybody. It's so cool to actually get them in hand.
Yeah, I just can't wait to do it.
And I gave 2 of them to my kids. I'm like, there you go. And they're like, oh my God, what is this? They were so stoked on
Oh,
it. So,
they're
yeah,
the
it was
best.
super, super dope. So thank you to Jeremy for sending the
Yeah,
over
thank
to
you
us.
so
He
much,
did a great
Jeremy.
job too, man. This
he
dude
really did a bang up job.
Dude, he saw this entire thing through from start to finish, and there was a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Between shipping issues and pandemics and shit, it was fucking nuts. So thank you, Jeremy. We appreciate that. It's awesome.
Fucking
You
right.
Did a hell of a job there, good friend. And yeah, man, there you have it. Thank you all so very much for joining us, Cryptonaut Podcast. We're back. We're doing it. And I think we've all learned that when there are explosions in your small town, the thing not to do is don't have a fire in your yard near a natural gas container, like a tank.
Is that what caused
That's what
it?
happened.
Oh, my
yes,
God.
it dawned on me that we didn't talk about it in the beginning, but yes, somebody actually blew
I thought
up.
it was something industrial.
No, someone blew up a tank in their yard, and it was a sonic boom that fucked everything up. So,
Jeez.
and you know who's pissed off, Chris?
Who?
The DEC.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
good.
sure they're
They
not
are
thrilled.
really fucking mad.
Dang, all right.
Because there's no burn in the area, and they're like, you know what you can't do? You can't fucking blow up giant gasoline tanks. It's not fucking cool.
That 100%
And with the
makes
price
sense.
of gas these days, Jesus Christ, it's probably $300 worth of gas.
I'm assuming nobody got killed.
No.
Yeah, no.
Thank
All
God
right,
no one
yes.
got hurt.
Good.
But if you were near there, holy fuck, you felt it. So,
Wow.
all right, man, there you have it. Curses be damned, and we're talking to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Keep it real.
Don't fuck around,
If
dude.
you got those powers,
Don't do
Use
it.
them fucking sparingly,
Yeah,
please.
really. Jesus Christ.
you
Even
could
if
really
you
do a lot
don't
of
have them and
damage.
you think you have them, just shut the fuck up.
Shit.
Yeah, just don't fuck around. Jesus Christ.
She could be hearing this right now.
Oh, don't put that in my mind.
I'm
I
sorry.
got enough. I got enough.
But you're the one she's going to single out.
No, I'm the married man. You guys are single. You're two single.
That's why
fucking
you're getting singled
bachelors.
out.
No, I'm already taken.
But you're
And
the
plus I
hottie,
got a
yeah.
You're not
vasectomy.
understanding what
I got
I'm
a
saying.
vasectomy.
It's true.
Dead
You
sperm.
have the ring, therefore you're going to be the first
You're
one
the unattainable one.
that she's going to be after.
Ah, son of a
And she's
bitch.
not looking for your babies. She's just looking for your manhood. Just saying.
All right.
She
sure.
wants your needle balls.
Skinny dick and needle ball.
Oh, man. There it is. Coming at you. 95.3 The Bear. We're talking to you.
Fucking A.